Hello everyone and welcome back to a very special episode of All American Rowing with me, Fergus Mainland, not actually live from the United States of America. We're actually at Henley Royal Regatta the day before. It is Monday before Henley Royal Regatta and I am delighted to be joined by a wonderful group of athletes and coaches who have travelled from across the pond from the US from Newport Aquatic Centre, Western Co. Wonderful to have you. And representing Riverfront Recapture, Jack Lambrose, Wyatt Mills and Quinn Woods, not necessarily in that order, apologies, but wonderful to have all four of you here on the eve of what is, in our eyes, here in the UK, the greatest rowing event in the world. It's a real festival of rowing, 6 days of racing coming up, and we're delighted to have all four of you and the rest of the crews from the United States here racing as well. And Wyatt, Weston, coming to you first of all, you know, you've been to this regatta before with Newport Aquatic Centre back last year, you're here again this year. What's brought you back? What's brought you back to Henley upon Thames?
Yeah, so we came last year, and I think that we were just kind of figuring it out as we went. And we came into the regatta really unsure of where we were going to stand relative to the field. And it was just an unbelievable experience. I think that from staying in Henley to experiencing the town, but then also doing quite well in the regatta. We made it to the semifinal, and we had a tough race against the eventual winner, Headington. And, we felt like if we were able to anytime we're able to put a competitive boat together, we want to make it a goal to come to Henley.
And, for you guys at Riverfront Recapture, you've had an incredible season. And I'll let you tell that story, but, you spent most of the season racing for Trinity College. Now you're representing Riverfront Recapture. Talk me through the season that you guys have had, because it's been historic, hasn't it?
It really has. This year, building over the past 4 years, it has been incredible to see. Quinn has been on the team this was his sixth season now.
Yep.
And just to see the progress, it's truly, that's the perfect season that you dream of. Going undefeated, winning our national championship. We placed fifth at the head of the Charles. And then from there, we knew that we were going to have some speed going to the spring, because that's when we peak. And we got together as a crew. We're rowing as a Cox 4 right now, but we tried to get our entire 8 here. It didn't work out, but this core group of 4 people, we knew that we had the speed to come over here. It was a dream of ours. The school, unfortunately, was not willing to send us, so we did everything in our power to make it happen. Jack Lambrose, he came over here 2 years ago and raced as an alumni boat with his school Salisbury boat club, and he had a grand time, and he was with another one of our teammates, Ian Lehman, and just seeing that also, that is a possibility. If the school's not willing to send you, there are ways to get over here, and just the prestige and the competition here is so well renowned that we wanted to go up against that. And it's not only just the competition over here, it's the experience of international racing, and just the true ambiance of this whole regatta is outstanding, and we're so glad to be here.
Yeah. How did you get on 2 years ago?
Adding on to that, it was just this was made possible just because of our love of the sport. We got together, we talked about in the fall, we were like, oh, well, if the school doesn't, if we're not going to go over as Trinity, there's more than one way to make it happen. And we all just kind of started this 6-7 months out, and then just kind of went right into planning on paper the dates, when we were going to fly over here, and it's really just fun to be able to just share that common goal within our 4, and just see that kind of passion for the sport kind of bring us to Henley as a crew. So,
and it's not only our love for the sport, it's the community around us, because while it's us 4 that are racing, to get here was a group effort of, I worked with Eric Housen from Kent School and WinTech, who has been amazing to us, setting us up with a boat and a connection with Windsor Boys School, who has been coming here for years and doing very well in recent years. We were able to train with them, train out of their, they have kind of a makeshift setup because they can't put any permanent, buildings on their spot. But, to see what they have and what greatness comes from there is just amazing, and the connections that we've made. And just the regatta putting us with the host family, everything has fallen into place for us. Just, the sport and people around the sport willing to help out others in the sport. It was amazing to see. It's been truly awesome, and we're really gifted to be here.
Yeah, well, you've both been out here for a wee while, doing a bit of racing as well at Henley Women's and at Mile Regatta. What did you make, of some of the competition that you're stacking up against at Henley Women's, and what have you made of some of the crews that are in the UK that you'll be going up against in a few weeks' time, or not a few weeks' time, a couple of days' time? Yeah.
I think for us, the way our season played out, we had our national championship on Sunday, and then got on a plane Tuesday to come out for the women's regatta. And so we'd been rowing in the 8 for probably 6 weeks at that point. And so I was like, okay, I want to get them out of the 8. So we went into the 4 and the quad. And I knew that the European and especially the UK sculling is at another level. So we really wanted to see that. And see that they did. So they, on the first day, the quad got out, and I think for them, they won a lot of their races this year in the quad and the 8, whatever boat class we put them in. And so to come here and kind of get checked like that right away, I think that I saw it in the way that they were approaching the practices the next week in the 8. There was a level of urgency that I think was needed coming off of a season that they had. And so I think it was really productive for us. And the 8s, we watched the 8s. I think Headington and Shiplake both look really good. But we raced Rye this year, and they were really good as well. I think we're excited for that competition.
Yeah, I can imagine. And for you guys, Marla Regatta, particularly on the men's side of things, Henley Women's, there's a great deal made of it for the women as they get ready for Henley Royal. But for Marla Regatta, for a lot of the UK clubs, it's all about doing the final preparation, the final getting the boat selection, everything right. So you're going up against some really quick crews, but you made the A final. You had a cracking row, didn't you?
Yeah. So. Yeah, we showed up to England, I think, 2 or 3 days before Marlow, and so we were still kind of getting adjusted to the time and everything. And we had practiced 2 or 3 sessions in our King shell, and so we had very little expectations for the time trial in the early afternoon. We just got together and decided just to rip it and see what we could do. It was a pretty hot day, but we knew that we could, recover and, try and throw down a fast time in the final. And yeah, we placed 8th in the time trial and 8th in the final. And so we were just, happy to be there. And, these crews had been training for months to peak at this moment. And for us to come together in a 4 just a couple days before to, throw down in a pretty fast regatta. It was really special. And I was texting a few of our coaches back in Connecticut as well to figure out, our rigging and how to adjust for the wind and all that stuff. And then coming here with WinTech, like they're setting us up perfectly. And, they got their hands on the boat and, just started making all the fine-tuned adjustments that we needed. And so, we're really appreciative of the team here that's been helping us ever since our success at Marlow. Yeah.
Marlow, it was just amazing regatta. Like you said, we were up to like midnight the night before, still adjusting to the time. And then when we get there, racing, like seeing Oxford Brooks next to us, like Cambridge crews, Oxford, like it was just an eye-opening experience. It was just invaluable to us to have that racing experience in the 4 before getting down here. We knew, making the switch from the 8 to the 4, from Trinity to Riverfront Recapture, we needed to, have some sort of name for ourselves before showing up to the regatta. We knew the qualifier was definitely going to be in our future, but to, get some racing experience down before that, like we did Reading this past weekend as well. It was just amazing to get that experience and such a big stage as well. Lake Dorney was amazing, and it was always a dream of mine to race there. Like rowing under that bridge, seeing the Olympic rings was.
It's not bad, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. The water was just so blue for some reason. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because none of the other water in the UK is like that at all. It's all sort of a funny brown colour. I don't particularly like. You touched on it a little bit there, but Weston, when you're coming across to have. An organisation like WinTech and King, both operating in the States but also in the UK. What's that transition like in terms of getting your athletes adjusted to equipment there?
Yeah.
Probably very similar with.
Yeah. The service that WinTech and King provide is unmatched by any boat manufacturer that we've worked with. So we feel like, especially in the States, when we're working and trying to get into the King, it's obviously an adjustment anytime you're moving boat manufacturers, but Brent made it so easy and answered all our questions when we come to any regatta, but definitely coming across the pond. it's so easy to know that you're going to hop into a boat that you're familiar feeling back home. Any questions or any rigging adjustments that you're going to need to be made, they're right there for you. And also just, making the connections along the way. I think that, Brent set us up with Henley Rowing Club to launch out of their docks on the Wednesday before Women's Regatta. All the uncertainties that you would have coming to a regatta across is answered by having someone like WinTech King. So we're just stoked to work with them, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, and particularly for you guys, with changing clubs and changing who you're rowing for, to have that consistency or that support with the equipment must take your mind off quite a lot of stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the I guess during our college season, we do a lot of small boat prep in the fall and throughout the season, and yeah, we row kings, and so kind of choosing them for Henley and Marlow was just a no-brainer for us. Like we really kind of got to choose the boat we wanted and what we were used to back in the States, and like we've been saying, the staff is just outstanding. Like every representative and has made us feel like family, and helped us with every kind of rigging adjustment, and especially they're all just so enthusiastic about what they do, and just being rowing in a shell that is backed up by people like that is just really what we would go for.
And you talked to me a little bit about expectations for this year's regatta. And last year you were semi-finalist last year. You've been a selected crew for this year's regatta. What are you hoping for Newport Aquatic?
Yeah, so for us, I feel like once you get to, we want to take it one day at a time, obviously. I think that we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but anytime you see the draw come out, you start to look at who might be ahead. And, we have Headington on Friday if we make it there. And that's, I would say that's probably the favorite coming in, having won women's regatta and be the defending champion this year. I think that we're looking at giving them as good of a race as we can. And I think that Fridays at Henley, you're always going to race an extremely competitive crew. If you're making it that far, that's a blessing in and of itself. But I think that this group is prepared, and they've know what the standard is here, and I think that they're eager to take on the best competition in the regatta, so we're very much looking forward to that.
How many have you got returning from last year's crew to this year's one?
There's 3 plus the coxswain so
Nice.
far. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a handy experience to
Mm-hmm.
have. Yeah.
Definitely the coxswain as well. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
last year, especially as we were starting, it's like you're just navigating such chaos out there, and we don't row on rivers very often, and so to see the way that now you can see the way that the water's moving differently throughout the course, and I think she's just got such experience with that now, and I trust Grace. Anytime I send her off the docks, I think she's going to handle the regatta well, so we're very confident with her.
Excellent. And for you guys as well, the PA, it's an interesting event because it's obviously condensed down to 16. What have you made of your draw and your path to racing on the weekend and maybe a Sunday as well?
I mean, just the entire process has been so exciting for us. Like we, obviously we know kind of where we stood in the 8. Once we switched down to the 4, we're like, all right, we don't know really what to expect. That's also why Marlow was so important to us. Being able to make the A final and compare the crews. Like, okay, these guys were also at Marlow. They're entered into Henley. This is how we placed against them. This is the work we need to do. And then also Reading as well, even though it's 800 meters, we were able to race University of San Diego. We got the win over them, which was awesome. They're a pre-qualified crew. Just to have that confidence is awesome. And going to the qualifier, obviously there's nerves. Like you're going against 30 other crews. You got to be top 8.
Yeah.
So we're like, if we were top 8 at Marlow, we got a good chance here. But yeah, drawing Newcastle, who was pre-qualified, I think they haven't had too much racing experience in their 4 just yet. So we don't have much to go off of. We're just excited. Every time we take a stroke on the course and have a practice, it's gold medal standard. We know the standard, like you were saying, of being over here and seeing the other crews, like rowing by boats that are entered into the visitors, and just like even the eights, is like seeing how clean they are all the time. Any bobble that you take, you're like, oh, like I wish I could get that back. Like like if someone was probably watching me. Like there's competition everywhere. I like knowing that you can just sit on the riverbank and see crews that you're probably gonna race, row by. It's awesome. So every day we make it further, if we do, is just gonna be a blessing, and we're so happy to be here. I mean, I think these guys can, extend more on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's like the beauty of Henley is like, you have to take it day by day, and like on this stage, like we use this phrase, like the noise increases. Like you're gonna have people in the stewards enclosure just screaming as you cross the finish, and like our kind of philosophy is like, that's cool, but we have to stay internal, stay focused on our plan, and like. Also, I mean, everyone should soak that all up. Like it's definitely a part of the sport, but us as a crew, just has that switch to dial in and get ready for the regatta. So.
One final question I've got for you guys, particularly across the collegiate landscape. We've got D1 crews here racing, D3 crews, but also some Aqua crews coming over and competing as well. What does it mean to you guys to be able to, if you go back to your performance at Reading, to go out and beat San Diego, one of the D1 programs, and here you are, you've come in and beaten them comfortably at Reading. What does that say about where you guys are in D3 and actually the strength of Division 3 in the United States at the moment?
Right. I mean, I've seen the division really grow over the course of my career at Trinity, because the first year that the Division 3 had an IR8 national championship in 2022, we had 6 or 7 crews that were entered into it, and we had maybe 1 or 2 the winning crews that could have maybe competed with the Division 1 in maybe the C final if they had entered into that. And then this year we're posting times that I don't know, we could have, thrown down with, some of those big dogs in D1. So it's been really exciting to see over the last 3 or 4 years how the division has really grown, and, everyone in our division wants to, really win a national championship, and that's really driven us to gain a lot of speed. And a lot more recruits want to come to our programs too after seeing our success and the speeds that we're throwing down.
Yeah, it's really fun with the sport of rowing, just being able to compare the times.
Apologies whilst we get a bit of wind coming through the set at the moment.
No worries.
We're trying to block the sun out, but in the same time we've got the wind coming through and everything. Yes, sorry, you were saying.
No, it's with D3 rowing, it's a lot of the guys on our team, at least, they've kind of realized, with self-determination, you can be as fast as those Division 1 crews. Like the biggest thing between Division 1 and Division 3 is just the number of practices you can have with a coach, and the amount of interaction you can have in the off season with your coach. And if you just stay determined and stay motivated through that off season, you can gain the fitness level, you can gain the athleticism needed to post those times. And we race in the regular season at the Connect Cup Regatta, where there are a few Division 1 schools. And my freshman year, we had just made it into, I wasn't in the varsity, but Quinn was. We had just made it into the Grand for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And racing the Division 1 schools there, and then to win it this year against multiple Division 1 programs was amazing to see. So as the gap between Division 1 and Division 3 kind of narrows, I think it was close to 15 seconds this year between the grand final at Division 1 and the D3 final. It's great to see, and I think as the sport grows and as more recruits come in and more talent arises, I think that gap will only narrow, and it's the Division 3 rowing, I think, is definitely on the up.
It's a fun place to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Weston, just finally then, your second year across, you've able to adjust to it a little bit and learn from your experiences last year. What are you most looking forward to? You've got obviously some great racing will be coming up on the water. What are you most looking forward to perhaps off the water here at Henley?
I think for us, what I find, last year and then definitely again this year, is being able to just see the high level of rowing all the way across. I think that these guys touched on it. When you go out and watch a practice, all the boats are rowing at a high level. You go out in the U.S. on a normal practice day, and you've got a huge range of skill level. And so being able to see that and then talking to the other coaches about, what's working here in the UK, a lot of the structure here is school-based rowing. We're a club, so it's a little bit different. But being able to kind of take things that are working here, talking to the people that are doing it at the highest level, and take that back to the States to build and refocus on coming back here. I think it's such an awesome thing to be able to put in front of the athletes that we are a club that can go to Henley. If, like these guys talked about, putting in the work and getting to the level of closing that gap on the Division I programs. For us, it's the same thing. It's like, having come back-to-back years, for our kids back home, they can say, okay, if we get to this speed, this is something that we can go to. And, that was something that I didn't have as a rower. I'm sure you guys might not have had that in high school. And it's like, what an awesome thing to be able to present to your athletes back home that might be sophomores in high school. Like, this is what you can do. And so I think that, the racing is awesome and we're really looking forward to it. But the experience is something that is just, it's impossible to compete with anything back in the States. So.
Well, I'm wishing all of you the very best of luck with racing in the Prince Albert, in the Prince Philip, and good luck to you and to all of the American crews who are participating here at Henley Royal Regatta 2025. This has been a very special episode of All American Rowing Live here from Henley Royal Regatta 2025. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you very much to WinTech and King for sponsoring All American Rowing through 2025, and we'll see you for the next instalment of All American Rowing.